Breaking news, did Ryan Routh have inside info on Trump's movements? Well, an ex-FBI official calls possibilities scary. We're uncovering this new development and so much more here on Beyond the Headlines, only on Vigilant News. This segment is sponsored by Goldco, helping Americans protect their retirement and savings with real gold and silver at vnngold.com. My name is Elijah Schaefer. Let's start the show. Well, the New York Post reports there's a scary possibility about the recent assassination attempt that the left is already trying to downplay. Did Ryan Routh have inside info on Trump's movements? Well, ex-FBI official says that's a possibility. Well, we're talking about the story, and it says here that the alleged would-be assassin was arrested for targeting Donald Trump while he golfed in Florida and have been given inside information about the former president's schedule. That's a real possibility, according to an ex-FBI official who called the possibility scary. Chris Swecker, a retired FBI assistant director, told Newsweek that the feds and other law enforcement will be probing how the suspect, Ryan Wesley Routh, 58, allegedly appeared to know Trump would be at his golf club in West Palm Beach on Sunday, despite even experts and security officials barely being briefed shortly before. We know for a matter of fact that Trump's decision to go to the golf course and play, West Palm Beach is right by where my studio is at, obviously I'm on the road now, was a last-minute decision. So if someone was briefed upon this, then they were tracking his movements. We know that the current would-be assassin was also not living in Palm Beach at the time, so he had traveled outside of his area of residence in order to follow Trump's motorcade. This takes serious information. The biggest question to answer is, how did the would-be assassin know to be at that location at the time, said Swecker, who worked on FBI criminal investigations. There are only three possible answers. He guessed and got very lucky. 2, he conducted surveillance on Trump and followed him to the golf course. Or he had inside information about Trump's schedule. He added, the last answer is scary and has implications that another person was involved. Now, Routh of Hawaii was nabbed after Secret Service agents stationed a few holes ahead of the 78-year-old former president noticed the muzzle of an AK-style rifle sticking through the shrubbery that lines the course on Sunday afternoon, authorities said. Now, if this Secret Service member didn't recognize that and they weren't doing their job, then Trump might actually be dead today. Kind of like the last time, and I'm sure they're on alert after being publicly embarrassed, when HSI, the Homeland Security Investigation Unit, ended up dropping the ball and allowing Thomas Crooks to take multiple shots at Trump, missing his head and skull by millimeters, even clipping his ear. Now, it goes on to say here that the alleged gunman who had the rifle and GoPro camera, allegedly set up apparently to record the planned shooting, was able to get between 300 and 500 yards away from the 45th president. Now, the FBI is leading the investigation and is working to determine any motive, authorities said. You can follow the latest details on the assassination attempt, including the fact that Trump assures that he's safe and well after Secret Service fires at a man armed with an assault rifle, demands mount for Trump to get the same protection as Biden. Now, despite Trump having stepped up security footprint since the last assassination attempt against him in July, Palm Beach County Sheriff Rick Bradshaw said protection for him was still light because he isn't a sitting president. The entire golf course would have been lined with law enforcement if Trump was this current president, the sheriff said. I would imagine that the next time he comes to the golf course, there will probably be a little more people around the perimeter, Bradshaw said. He goes on to explain, but the Secret Service did exactly what they should have done. Swecker, meanwhile, described the suspect as an apparent wingnut who hated authority after it emerged he had previously echoed anti-Trump rhetoric on social media. I'd like to say he's also a registered Democrat, and there's a direct desire to downplay his association with the Democratic Party. He was vehemently anti-Trump. He was pro the war in Ukraine. He was anti-Russia, and he saw Trump as a menace and a villain. Now, this brings up the factor that, he was obviously working as and running a volunteer center in Kiev, directly connecting volunteers to the Ukrainian military. It's on record that he was trying to recruit Afghan or, previous, Taliban or Afghan soldiers that had fled the country. He was also in the capability of bribing the Pakistani government for free passports for transport into the Ukraine region. So it's just bizarre to me that this guy had so much connections, yet we don't think he's a Fed. Now, as many of you know, that the Fed actually controls our finances, and they've been destroying the value of the dollar for decades, maybe even over almost a century, in about 10 years. That's why Americans are not waiting for the lame duck season of Joe Biden to have him pull some BS and go into our retirement, into our savings, tax our unrealized gains. That's why so many people around the country are trusting the only 5-star rated, highest approved gold and precious metals company, Goldco. Now, Goldco not only has hundreds of 5-star reviews, they have literally transacted hundreds of millions of dollars in gold and silver to help Americans protect their retirement and savings. So whether you have cash in your bank account, whether you have an IRA, or you even just have retirement, Find out how you can hedge against inflation by protecting that with real gold and silver. When you go to vnngold.com right now, you can get a free 2024 gold and silver kit. Plus, we'll give you a 10% instant match on bonus silver when you sign up today. Go to vnngold.com and stop waiting to protect your assets. vnngold.com today. Make sure that you check it out. Now, many of you know, this goes on to say here that we know that the suspect has posted about Trump being a danger to democracy and has been active on some strange quests, visiting Ukraine to round up Afghan fighters. So the motive is coming into focus. He is a wingnut who dislikes authority based on his arrest record for resisting arrest in a 2-hour standoff. Routh has been reported run-ins with law over the years, including an hours-long standoff with cops in 2002, in which he was convicted of carrying a weapon of mass destruction, online records show. Now, that weapon of mass destruction obviously was a machine gun, a fully automatic rifle. Now, if you like stories like these, don't forget to leave a like. Don't forget to also subscribe. And if you want to follow us and get our newsletter to get reports like this, sign up to our newsletter at vigilantnews.com, or you can follow us on Rumble and on X at Vigilant News. My name is Elijah Schaefer. Have a great rest of the week. May God bless the United States of America. I'm signing out.